You okay?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah?
Now
Okay.
jump by itself.
Uh-huh. Patrick's just apologising, he just had to reset the iris on the camera.
The top camera is very close to the bottom one.
I think I was getting the eye mixed up with the tarsier. That's from Asia. They're tiny, tiny, tiny little primates. A little bit smaller than our bush baby here. That one's from Asia. And they can jump quite a distance actually. It's quite incredible. Such a small animal can jump so far. So all of the tarsiers and the aii and the gallegos and potos are all very primitive primates. Primitive, obviously, just sort of not as far advanced as, say, like the monkeys or the apes. A little bat. So it's still going to be quite interesting. We have seen a few more bush babies recently, but I'm still quite intrigued to know if we see more during the winter than during the summer, because at my old reserve, as we went into winter, they would actually disappear further into the deeper bush, obviously trying to keep a lot warmer. But I can't remember who it was, but when I was discussing with it on one of the night drives previously, they were saying that here they seem to be able to see them a lot more easily because of the bush dying back. So it'll be quite interesting to see if that is the case here. I've yet to see a thick-tailed bush baby. I've only ever seen the lesser bush baby or gallego. I think some people say gallego. It's a bit of a potato one again. Tomato. Yeah. I think tomato is American and tomato is English. And then you've got, in England, you've got different ways of saying the same word as well, like grass and grass. If you go down south, you'll hear grass more. If you go up north, it's grass. It just depends on obviously where you put the emphasis. Sorry, Patrick was just asking me about if it was just English or not.
Tell me about your most unforgettable experience in the bush, Tara. The best sighting that you've ever guide.
Patrick just wants to know my most unforgettable experience as a guide. Sure, that's a difficult one, hey? There's actually been quite a few, and even just Karula last week taking the kill up into the tree was quite unforgettable. Being charged by the elephant, that's also quite unforgettable. Sitting with a pride of lions while they're eating is also quite an amazing to see. We used to have a race every year that was, and it was a marathon that was run through the reserve, and we had to sit with the lions, the pride of lions, to know all times during the race. So we used to have to go out and sit with them. Basically, after the afternoon, if people had found them, we'd used to go and sit with them. If they hadn't found them, then we'd have to go off and try and find them. and they would usually roar, so we usually be able to, if you're in the vicinity, it's very rare to find them in the evening. Sometimes we can find them with the gas. Try and look in the right areas, just depending on the season. You have to sit with them. We're doing through the night, and there was times where I'd sit with them and they just eat it and they completely pass out. Sitting with him, and about the morning, a very strange sound, and it was actually this huge lion, and so it was about 280 kilos, certainly dreaming. The first time I ever saw a leopard was also quite incredible. Actually coming about a 43-degree road, and as I'm driving around about 4:30 in the afternoon, there was in front of me. That's I was up here. I'd been there for probably about 6.
Hi everyone, this is Kaz in Final Control. The jigger seems to be going through a bad signal area, which we thought it might because we're heading on to Buffalo's Hook. I will get back with Tara. I think she's just gone through a dip and it looks like she's coming through now, so as soon as the signal is back, we'll be live on the jigger.
Guys, we've just spotted a genet. I don't know if he's still going to be sticking around. I'm just going to see. There he is. Tail. There. We're just a little bit far, but I don't want to shine the light on it because it did run from the light. This is about a domestic cat size. You can see that long tail almost looks like a lemur with that ringtail. But again, remember the lemurs are primates and the genet is belonging to the carnivores, closely related to cats. It's in the cat order. Let me see if I can. Looks like he's actually almost like he was defecating, because when they territory they stand on their front legs and do a handstand. Checking us out. Does look like it's got fairly small spots on its body, so it possibly is a small spotted genet.
I guess I can focus on
I'm wondering if it's going to try and cross the road again. And you can see it just using its back legs just to try and get a better viewpoint. Just like if you think about the meerkats and the mongoose, again it's also related to those. They're also in the same order, just a different family. I wonder what it's not sure about. I'll just see if there's something coming. Keeps looking over its shoulder to the back there. There he is, just in the right of your shot. You saw the eyes there. Let's see if we can pick him up with the spotlight again. There's something he wasn't too sure about. Let's see if we can just move around the corner a little bit. Excuse me. To the tail. Large spotted has a the tail, and large is also known as the russet jet. It's actually a rusty red colour. So just by it looks like a small spotted jet. But they're very similar in size. It's very, very different. We tell the difference in the tracks. They never really be asked on assessment to detect if it's a small or large genet. So very, very unfair. Well, I was hoping to see something along here. There was something that Janet wasn't too sure about. And it wasn't us, it was looking in a completely different direction. With it being a small carnivore, it could be prey for other carnivores. So the leopard, myself, Mark and Caroline. Did you hear the hyena?
Straight ahead. Yeah.
Straight ahead. I just thought I heard a hyena. That's possibly what the Janet was hearing. It's quite difficult to get a direction from down here. See if we can try and bump into the hyena. It'd be quite nice to actually follow the hyena. They do seem to move quite rapidly through the bush. Can be quite difficult to keep up with them. It'd be quite nice to find out where it is that they're denning. I still think they're denning fairly close to quarantine. Thanks, Alan. Saying I'm letting all the people in the UK down, dressing up so warmly. Saying that the winter's day here in Africa is just the same as the Lake District in the summer. Alan, you're right actually. During the day it's true, but at night it drops. And it's actually, we were just commenting on it. I think with the temperature difference being so great here, we feel the cold so much more. I know I definitely do. Everyone usually laughs because I'm usually the first one to put on the warm clothes. And I think just with it being in the UK, the temperature difference is not that great. It's basically cold all the time, with the odd exception. But say here, you have the very hot weather during the day. I mean, today we finally got a thermometer outside FC, and today was about 22 degrees, I think was the hottest. And I don't know what it dropped down to as we were going out on drive, but the wind is quite chilly as well. I mean, I've got, let me think, 1, 2, 3, 4 layers on. I've got a thermal top underneath. I've got my Safari TV shirt on, which is very, very thin. And I've got a fleece, and I've got my windbreak, which also has a fleece lining, and I'm just about warm enough now. But, okay, Africa's saying it's 14 degrees outside. So, as I say, the wind is quite chilly. And I think with the UK, I think the temperature difference between the night and day is not as extreme, generally. But that's my theory and I'm sticking to it. It's also, I was sort of saying when we used to go out in Leeds, myself and Africa were talking about it this afternoon, and we used to go out in Leeds and Newcastle and places like that, and I'd still be wrapped up quite warmly. But you know, you just have a coat on over you going out clothes, and that was, you know, it was bearable. It was still cold, but it was bearable. But here, here I need about 4 layers on. And I think it's also what you get used to. So my body is definitely adapted to the changing temperatures in that sense, and I think it's adapted more to the heat, so I can cope with the heat better. But I've already got 2 duvets on my bed and my pyjamas. I haven't got to the hot water bottle stage yet. We're not into the depth of winter yet. But I must admit it doesn't feel as cold this evening as it did even this morning or yesterday. Kind of eased off with the coldness a little bit. Quite an interesting one, Alan. Just asking, what animal behaviour haven't I seen that I'd like to see? I think leopard mating is definitely up there on the list. Giving birth. I've only ever once seen an animal give birth, and that was not a hyena, it was a lemur at the zoo, so it was a captive birth. That blew me away actually. It was a first time mother, and I could see she was sort of contracting her pelvis, and I thought, oh, that's looking quite strange. Maybe she's giving birth. She didn't look like she was pregnant, but it just looked, you know, that she looked a little bit in pain, and sure enough she gave birth, and she was licking it and helping it, and she was helping it up to where her nipples were, so that the baby could start holding on already. It was quite incredible. And there was one other family member that sort of stuck around and kind of helped and was licking the baby, but she was kind of doing most of it herself. It really was quite incredible to watch. And I think, I forget now, it's either one of the Styx Pride or the Yonkahuma Pride who have actually given birth right next to a vehicle. And that, as I say, that would actually be quite awesome to see. There are this, I think the baby elephant using its trunk for the first time, or actually working out how to use it, I think is also up there on the list. I'd love to see that. And obviously young animals getting to grips and jumping on things. See a cub trying to figure out what on earth a tortoise is. I think that would be quite amusing to watch. Sort of being inquisitive and not understanding what a movie is. I think taking an umbrella to the tree was definitely a behaviour I've been wanting to see for a long time. Actually, I got to see that the other night. It really blew me away, I must admit. A lot of behaviour. Even just seeing the standoff between Misha and the cheetah, really awesome. And it would be quite nice to see that again on in Misha's life and see how he deals with it again. That'd be very interesting to see. Wild dog interaction, I haven't seen much. I've seen wild dog once, sleeping. I think even hyena interaction, I haven't had much contact with hyenas. the brown hyena, but even then there were sort of fleeting glimpses. I think I've actually heard brown hyena, but it's so difficult. It was actually in a wet area, so it was very, very difficult to try and get any closer to them. So that's the only thing I can put it down to. Hyena Road. Oops, sorry Patrick. We got a signal again. Hi Patty, great to hear you're still with us. And just a follow-up question from your question earlier on feral cats and wild cats, African wild cats, and will they interbreed? Yes, they will, and they have done. That's why it's quite important when you do see an African wild cat to try and see if there are any differences in those features I was talking about earlier. Obviously the pads is quite a difficult one, but that one does help. I know some people who've got African wild cats as pets, and I remember looking at the pads and thinking, it's a pink pad, that shouldn't be like that, and later on I found out that actually it is a hybrid. So that one for me is the most characteristic, but they will interbreed, and unfortunately when people have been allowed to have cats on a reserve, with the African wild cats and our hybrids around. Yeah. Sorry?
Not getting this right.
Oh. Very approaching Buffalo's Hook Dam now. We should get better. Okay. So I was trying to follow doing. So obviously at night everything looks much different. Oh, well, we've got it in the road. We've got something in the road. Peeped out at it. Here. On the fire break we came and Buffalo's Hook Cut Line, well, Buffalo's Hook Cut Line down Gary and Hyena the fire break, and now we're just turning into Buffalo's Hook Dam. Oh, I'd love to have known what that was. So difficult with the smaller animals, they don't tend to stick around too much. If they're just a little bit too far away to actually pick it up on the camera. Ah, there it is. In the tree, you get it. That tree at the back is another genet. Running that tree out. See if we can try and swing the camera there. Around here. That's what it was that I saw. I think we might lose signal if we go too. I'm just going to stay here. We saw out of the tree. Ran over here somewhere. Come on, little one. Nice to see. I think she's gone. very quiet around here this evening. Just hoping to find something or somebody down here drinking. Looks like the hippos at a Gowrie Dam, where the hippos that were here. Got about 8 in Gowrie Dam again. Okay, well, we'll continue on then. Actually, I don't know how well. Can we see if we can try and pick up the stars? If you can try and pick up Scorpio in particular. Scorpio is looking beautiful this evening. I don't know how well it's going to work, everybody, but let's see if we can give it a go. Okay, can you maybe pull back a little bit, Patrick? Just, that's it. Okay. Okay, that's not the one I want. That's actually that is. Where are you pointing? Are you pointing at these ones here? Yeah. Okay, that's actually the pointers that help to find south. So that the bottom one actually contains 3 stars. It looks like 1 star, but it's actually 3 stars. You've got our closest star to Earth, obviously in our night sky, not the sun, and that's Proxima Centauri, and that's actually a red dwarf. And that takes about 1 million years to rotate around the other 2 stars. And at the moment it's about 4.2 light years away from us, and the other 2 are about 4.4 light years away from us. And those 2 are actually, they take about 80 years to revolve around each other. So that's Alpha Centauri, and then the top one is Beta Centauri. Alpha just is brighter than the Beta. And then you actually use those with the Southern Cross to try and find south. Alpha Centauri is actually a centaur that jumps over the Southern Cross. And he's supposed to have been Hercules' tutor, Charon I think it was. And unfortunately Hercules killed him with an arrow. So he was put up into the sky to commemorate him. So there's actually 2 centaurs in the sky, and the other one being Sagittarius, who's depicted with a bow and arrow as well. And Sagittarius actually contains, or is where the center of the universe, apparently. It's in the center of that constellation.
Find the Scorpion.
The Scorpion's just to the left. If anybody's seen the film The Clash of the Titans with Perseus and Andromeda and Cassiopeia, and I forget the king's name now, but they all up in the sky, and that whole, everything that the film's based around is actually in the sky. You've got Cetus, which is the sea monster, Perseus, who is the Greek half-god or demigod, Andromeda, the daughter who is chained to the rock to appease the gods about the mother's boast, Cassiopeia's boast about her being so beautiful and being very vain. I think you need to go a bit further left if you can. I want to try and see if we can have a look at Antares. Also the Pegasus is in the sky, the winged horse. Yeah, very, very faint.
It looks like a little bit coffee.
No, it's not working too well, Patrick. Maybe see if you can pull out and see if we can see Antares, the heart of the scorpion.
On the top.
Yeah, if you can go up to the left. There we go. There we go. That's it, stop there. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's a very bright star in the middle of the screen, or just off to the middle of the screen, and that's Antares. That's the heart of the scorpion, red giant. I think, yeah. So that's Antares, and that's the red giant, and I think it's about 400 times larger than the sun, if I can remember rightly. And I don't know if we can just pull out a little bit. Could you see any more of the stars when we were sort of out of it? If you can just stop there, Patrick. Actually, if you can pull back a little bit more, because you had the head and the claws. Yeah, just in the top left. Stop there, stop there, stop there, stop. If you can see in the top left, there's 3 stars that are in a row, and that's the head and the left and right pincer, and then Antares is in the bottom of the screen. Unfortunately, it's difficult to actually show you the whole constellation, but it does actually look like a scorpion in the sky. It's a very clear constellation, and at the moment, now that it's up in the sky, you won't see Orion, who's the hunter. He's the opposite side to what the Scorpion's on. So if you see Orion in the sky, you won't be able to see Scorpio in the sky. Sorry? Yeah, it's a beautiful sky tonight. Unfortunately, it's just not coming out too nicely on the camera, but the Milky Way is looking absolutely beautiful tonight. I can even see the coal sack from the Southern Cross. It really is beautiful. If I could actually think of a way to show you the stars nicely, it'd be so good to actually be able to do a proper stargazing with you. And at the moment, he does have a telescope and is interested in this. One of the most beautiful objects in the sky is Orion, and it's actually one of the largest. A star. I'm gonna okay. Okay. So yeah, as I say, it's actually just where the pointers are, and if you look in the same areas where those pointers were by the Southern Cross, then you'll be able to see quite a dusty star. And if you look through your binoculars, you can actually see it's not a star, it's many, many, many stars. And if you look through a telescope, it's many thousands of stars. I forget how many, I think it's if you want to try and see it yourselves and if you are in the southern hemisphere, unfortunately I don't think it really works in the northern, but if you are in the southern hemisphere and you take the 2 pointers, and if you take the Beta Centauri, the duller one of the two, and there's a star goes above it, there's no other star that you can really confuse it with, so if you go to the star above it and then the same sort of distance from that again, you'll see the dusty area where the next one is, and that's Omega Centauri. And if you look there with your binoculars, I say it really is such a beautiful star cluster. And that would have been an area which would have been a nebula, which is a lot of gas and debris, and where stars are supposed to be born. And these would be very new stars, and with all the reaction and interaction of the stars, all force and pull reacting against each other, and they'll start to move away from each other, and that's what's happening with that star cluster. It's one of the best in the sky, so if you do have a small telescope or a pair of binoculars, definitely have a look at it. It really is spectacular. Again, if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to email them through to farmcontrol@safari.tv. And if you're just joining us, my name is Tom. We have Patrick. No, I'm just gone past Buffalo's Hook. I'm now on Guaypan Road, I think it is. Yeah. See if we can take Mamba Road. Okay, so just in case you guys missed it, my name's Tara and I'm guiding you this evening. I've got Patrick on camera with me, and Mark's now in final control. And if you do have any questions, you just need to email them through to finalcontrol@safari.tv, and I'll be able to answer them as we're driving around looking for any nocturnal animals. We've seen eagle owl this evening. It's my first one on drive here. We used to see them quite a lot in the reserve. And unfortunately they do sit on the roads quite a lot and they get run over, so they could start to become quite vulnerable. And then we also had we've had two. We didn't manage to get the one on camera, but the other one we did have on camera for a little bit, foraging around for any insects or any small rodents. We also do possibly have honey badgers. We've seen maybe the odd one or two tracks, and one of the other guys in the area has said that they've seen 2 honey badgers around recently. Possibly pangolin could still be in the area. maybe aardvark. There's enough termite mounds around here to be able to support aardvark. And I have seen aardvark live in areas like this, although they do seem to like the more open areas, the grasslands. Go again. Thanks, Brian. Wondering if I've got soup with me in a flask. Unfortunately, I don't. If we were out any longer, I probably would have. But I think 2 hours is buried in the cold. I may even start bringing a blanket out and a hot water bottle. That's what to do if we were watching lions. Especially we'd do it at this time of year, June, July, cold is March. And luckily we actually had a door on the freezer, so you still had from the outside cold. And we'd get ready and we'd actually take our in with us, because we'd start the shift maybe just after the game ride, and we'd be there until 2-3 o'clock in the morning until someone would relieve us. Sometimes you went through the whole night. Take our dinner, take some powder or something like that, and we'd be there, the lions. Okay, welcome back everybody. Apparently you had a bit of signal breakup again. And I'm going to see if we can try and drive around Mumba Road and maybe back onto quarantine area and just see if we can keep the signal. Not too sure why we're losing signal. I think that should have been a good signal road, so we'll just see if we can get a better signal on Mumba Road. But I was just saying about not having any soup on drive. Brian from Bristol wanted to know if I had soup on drive, and it just sort of got me thinking about when we used to sit with the lions at my old reserve for the race. When I was saying about it earlier, we used to sit with the lions and watch them through the night. And we used to take our food along. We used to take some pasta along or something. So we used to take over straight from drive. If people had found the lions, and we used to go and sit with them. And just remember one day we said that we would go and sit with the male who had a kill, and it looked like the females had already eaten, and we said, look, we'll go and sit with them, and the other vehicle can go and sit with the female with the cubs and the other females. And I remember sitting there, and then the female decided to come and join the male, so they were busy eating, and the cubs were playing on the male and actually jumping on his back, and he was actually being very, very gentle with them. He didn't to try and reprimand them at all, but they were so small. At that age they seem to be able to get away with anything, but as they get older, that's when the males really start to pull them into line. And it was quite awesome to actually spend time with them like that, and so relaxed as well. And this female, I definitely felt like we had some form of understanding, at least. She had shown me her cubs on 2 separate occasions. I was actually one of the first people to see the second set of cubs, and she definitely brought them out to show me. It was quite awesome of her. And going out there, so it's about June, July we usually do that, or used to do it, and I'd be wrapped up in layers. I think I'll probably have at least 6 or 7 layers on, scarf, beanie, gloves, and my duvet from my bed, and also my hot water bottle, which is, of course, it's a Tigger hot water bottle. So he would come along with, and be nice and warm. And there was also a heater in one of the vehicles, so we used to have the heater going as well, and we'd just about be warm enough. But you definitely have to go, and you had to take tea and coffee, and we'd even take a bit of amarula just to warm us through a little bit. I always forget to take the sherry though. That would always work a little bit better. It's something we didn't get to do very often, but we kind of made it quite an event when we did do it. And if the lions were active, then unfortunately you weren't able to really sit and have a cup of tea or coffee or anything. But, I think that was only once when I really didn't sit and just watch them. We had to carry on looking for them and driving after them. Okay, I think I actually want to go down here and then catch Lumber Road. Is this a good signal spot here?
Yeah, it's like a straight drive.
Hey Jamie, welcome on board this evening, and just asking how cold it is now. And I've just been told by Mark from the thermometer we've got outside FC that it's about 13 degrees now. And it's actually, I'm feeling a warm air at the moment. And I think it's probably a lot warmer for me than it is for Patrick at the back here, because he's completely exposed, whereas at least I've got the dashboard to keep my legs warm and the engine warm. But it definitely feels a lot warmer than it did further up towards the dam. I say it's quite amazing the difference between the winter and the summer. In the summer you can drive around still maybe with a light jacket on as you go into 10, 11 o'clock at night, but certainly in the summer you can get away with, actually, you don't need to turn down there, Huh?
Battalion.
Going on to Battalion. Down here's Battalion.
Battalion number is further down.
Yeah, I think actually let me keep going down, further down, then on to Mumba. Just got to remind me of that hole, hey? Otherwise you'll end up with Caroline's fate. So I'm watching out for this hole, Patrick. You need to tell me if you see it. I think there's actually a branch that covers it. I could have even been back there actually. I must admit though, that's one thing that we don't have too many of, and that's aardvark holes here. My old reserve we had many aardvark holes, and if you weren't careful and not patient, then you would end up in holes. The trouble is, the aardvarks really didn't mind where they dug the holes, so you actually get you drive used to what the road feels like, so you don't, and that's unfortunately what I've been doing. Even here, you sort of get used to what the road feels like, so you kind of get the road, but you're more busy watching out for animals. And when you're more busy watching out for the animals, so you just have a quick glance, and if you're not looking at the right place at the right time, and you think you know the road, and the aardvark's been digging there, whoop, there goes your tyre, whoop goes your second tyre before you realise what's happened. That has happened on a couple of occasions. If anybody wants to go looking for Mars, then you just need to have a look in the constellation Leo. Mars should be in that constellation, but it will be the one rather than the one. How's it looking now? how's it looking now, Mark?
It's not easy to understand you because it's jumping so much. I think what you can do is probably start looking away when you get
Hi everybody, Mark here in Final Control. We seem to be having exceptionally bad signal problems this evening, and it's, by the sound of things, or by the looks of things rather, it's more atmospheric than equipment related, because our radio comms are pretty bad as well. So whether it's got to do with the sun or the moon and the stars and gosh, who knows everyone else. But we're going to be calling Tara in, so we're going to be ending the drive as soon as we get signal again from her. Unfortunately, we seem to be having more breakup than signal this evening, and we'll be ending the drive a little bit early. Apologies for that. At the moment, I'm not seeing anything at all from Tara, and normally in a very good signal area. So I'm going to be going back to Gari Dam for the time being, and as soon as I get a signal back from the jigger, we'll cut back to Tara and maybe end the drive a little bit early. Thank you for your understanding. Bye for now.
Hey, sorry about the breakup again, guys. We thought we'd try Mamba Road, and we generally have a good signal there. Not too sure why we didn't tonight. But we're still around just past Chella Pan, going towards Weaver's Nest Road now, and on to Quarantine to drive around there for a little bit. Excuse me. Thank you. I'd see if we could find the hyena that was calling. Woo! Going past Philemon's Cut Line now, onto Philemon's Dip. See if we can do a couple of laps around the quarantine area. See if we can maybe bump into the hyenas that we're calling. I haven't heard them since though, since we were on the other side watching the genet. You never know, we might be lucky enough to bump into the African wildcat around here. I've seen them a couple of times now, I've seen it a couple of times. Not too sure if it's been a male or female. Yeah. Okay. Good for me on me to end it here then.
You could maybe
Oi. Okay, everybody. I'm not too sure entirely what's going on with the signal this evening. We are sort of approaching quarantine area, but we're still having some signal breakup. So unfortunately, I think we might have to end the drive here. If as I'm driving back we bump into anything of interest, then we'll see if we can go live with it. So I'll still have a look out, but unfortunately we are having a few problems. So rather than trying to frustrate everybody and try and carry on, we're going to hand back to Mark. I'll see if I can come and chat with everyone for the last half an hour or so, and see if we can see anything around the dam. So apologies everybody, but thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for the questions that came through. And so thank you very much, Patrick, for helping me with the camera this evening, and Mark and Caroline in Final Control. And I'll see you guys back at camp. This has been Safari TV, and from the crew, good night. Everybody, just as we're coming back, there's a hyena actually just next to us. If Patrick's going to try and turn the camera around and just see if we can see it. Just sitting here, and there's actually impala to the right and to the left of us.
Can we zoom, please?
I wonder if this is the individual that I was hearing calling earlier. It looks like it could be floppy ear. I can see the left, or her right ear is actually folded over.
Yep.
And she actually looked quite a big hyena. I know she is quite a big hyena. What's quite interesting is I've been sent through some pictures of her when she got attacked by lions, and she was actually in quite a bad way. But it just goes to show that animals can be quite amazing creatures, and they can withstand quite a lot. And she was able to pull herself through, and now she's actually quite a formidable hyena in the area, so I understand. She seems to be, I think she's actually the matriarch of the hyena clan around here. And yet if you'd seen the pictures, she was at death's door. So she's quite a strong lady. It's difficult to see if she's given birth yet or not. She was very, very heavily pregnant the last time I saw her. There's your den, lady. Possibly listening out for other clan members, seeing if they've actually found something to eat. I'd say the impala all around us are quite relaxed. which I always find quite interesting because hyenas are capable of hunting by themselves. They're even able to pull down wildebeest by themselves. So I find it quite amazing that the impala are very relaxed around hyena, and yet if there's a lion or a leopard, the alarm call goes out. And they're actually very powerful hunters, in that they can also pull down not just injured and old animals, but they will go for healthy animals too. Obviously it does depend on the circumstances, because at the end of the day, if an animal doesn't have to waste energy in catching prey, then it won't, and that's why they have this bad reputation of being scavengers. In some areas they scavenge more than in others, especially in the Serengeti. They're more hunters than scavengers. But again, if they don't have to waste the energy in hunt, they won't. And for pound, they've got the strongest, or one of the strongest muscles in the mammal kingdom. Or the strongest. I think the alligator snapping turtle has the strongest pound for pound. If there's any viewers who are wondering how you can tell a spotted hyena from a brown hyena, you can see she's got very short fur. Brown hyena's got much longer fur. And you can also see the spots on the side of her body, whereas the brown hyenas have got long fur all the way down to the legs there. Where are you off to, Missy? Let's see if we can follow her. See how well the signal holds.
Second is coming in front of the legs. Okay, never mind.
See if we can get the hyena with the impala here. Sorry, Patrick. another hyena? Yes, it is. Quite nice to see if these two are going to meet each other. See if they're actually two clan members. They should be. I can't see why they wouldn't be related. This is going to be quite interesting to see the greeting now. She should be the more dominant of the two, so this one should show subordination to her. Maybe they were actually out foraging together, because there wasn't really any form of a greeting there. Generally they'll actually go up and sniff each other's genitals, and as I say, the subordinate one sort of going up first and sniffing. Okay. And I think there's another hyena coming out now. Here comes another hyena. Let's see if we can switch off here. I think... Mark's just saying he thinks that this hyena is related. Sorry?
Too far for this.
Looks a little bit excited, this little one. You got it?
Too far for this.
No, I think it's alright for the time being. Mark was just saying that he thinks that this other female's possibly the other one that had cubs, possibly related. That little one was certainly excited to see them. I think this is one of the small ones that we saw the other night. Possibly, I'm estimating around 8 months old or so. I'm going to see if I can actually follow them. Let's see if I should go to a den or something. Looks like quite a young one, as I say. I don't know if we can... The females, they're actually lying in the road now. Just see if we can move forward a little bit. Okay. Okay, I have a question coming through. Okay. You can see where the spotted hyena's grooming is starting to show some of the cat traits. Even with the leg up around, just like your domestic cat at home does. Another difference between the brown hyena and the spotted. The brown may form clans or family groups, so they go off and forage alone. Spotted hyenas may forage alone, or they may forage in pairs or small groups. And brown hyenas tend to go for more berries and insects, small rodents, more carrion, rather than hunt. Sorry? Okay. Oh, don't go off there. Just disappearing behind the bush. Yeah, it's just disappeared behind the bush. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can just follow them in a little bit. I just want to see maybe dens around here. So it would be nice if we can actually find the den and just see. It's a little bit open here. I'm not going to go too far because it is quite thick around here. I really do think that they may have a den close by here. Because we're just, with them being on their quarantine so often, especially those youngsters. It's too quick for us. Hoping you may just stop so we could just see which path it took. Oh well, it was worth a try, but I still think, I really do think, oops, sorry tree. I really do think there is a den around here. keep our ear to the ground and see if anything is shown up. It's quite interesting. I was reading about the spotted hyenas with the males, and obviously in hyena society males are very much the low rank. Females are very high ranking, and it's thought that they've got quite a high level of testosterone to make them a lot bigger than the males, so that they can outcompete the males for food. And if a female actually has sons, the sons tend to move away with age, but if it's the alpha female, if it's the matriarch, the sons maybe move away 3.5, maybe even 4 years later. And it's possible that that gives them the edge to, obviously they're much larger if they go to another clan, whereas if they leave when they're about 2.5, then it means that they're still quite small and they can be easily dominated. But being the matriarch relative or her son, it could be that gives them the edge, and obviously they have a lot more assurance about themselves, and maybe even braver. So they tend to be able to approach the females that are in estrus, and they actually also do a bit of a bow, and they're very edgy when they're approaching a female. They get very, very wary, because females obviously could give them quite a serious injury if they get on the wrong side of them. And so it's quite interesting that maybe even their birthright helps them on later on in other clans because of leaving home a little bit later. So making sure that they can gain a bit more strength and weight. Look like they came through here. I think that little one followed them into the bush. Being very, very quiet as well. I'm not hearing them call the rest of the clan members. Another eye twinkling in the bush here. I think it is a bush baby, but it's a little bit too far into the bush. And it looks like we have come to the end of the drive, everybody. At least we're able to catch up with the hyena after me thinking that we weren't going to be able to bump into anything. But it's nice to actually see them and seeing a little bit of interaction with them. And I think they'd already been together and they just parted, maybe to go and do something, maybe to forage into a different area, and that's possibly what she was waiting for, was the other one to return, possibly. But thank you very much for joining me, and as I say, thank you very much for the questions. And for myself, Patrick and Mark, take care and good night. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 6:30. Goodbye.